Hope opened her mouth to argue, but Prudence held up her hand for silence. She inserted the key, turned it, and opened the narrow cupboard-like door to the attic. There was no need for stealth. Her grandfather was roaring, beyond any distraction of creaking hinges and the like. He was bent over a small huddled shape. "You filthy little heathen!" Thwack. "Rank obscenity!" Thwack. "Idolatrous blasphemy!" Thwack. With each epithet, his sinewy old arm brought down his riding crop with as much force as he could muster. The crop whistled with each downward slice. 10-year-old Grace was coiled into a tight ball on the floor, her hands clasped protectively over her head, making herself as small as possible. Prudence shot across the room like a small furious cannonball. "Leave my sister alone, you great filthy bully!" She hurled herself against him, shoving with all her might, for she was not a large person. Her grandfather might be well past 60, but he was 6 feet tall, his body strong and lean from hunting, shooting, and fishing, and from beating little girls. He staggered, caught off balance. Prudence took advantage of his momentary unsteadiness and pushed him again, hard. He tripped over a trunk, from which old clothes spilled, Grace and the twins' dress-up clothes, and lay for a moment gasping, sprawled among faded brocade and moth-eaten lace. Obedient to his orders, James scooped Grace up and strode from the room. Hope hesitated. "Go!" Prudence hissed at her. "Quickly!" She went. In a surge of old gowns, her grandfather staggered to his feet. His face was purple with rage. Veins stood out at his neck and temple. Spittle foamed at his mouth. "Brazen-faced little bitch! I'll teach you!" Grasping his riding crop, he strode toward Prudence. She flung him a contemptuous look. "How dare you use that disgusting weapon on a child?" she spat. "That little hellcat was engaged in filthy, idolatrous evil, and I'll scourge her of it if it's the last thing I do." Filthy, idolatrous evil? Prudence glanced at the 3-legged table, where Grace had been working in secret. On it lay a pasteboard reticule, and several of the old magazines passed on in secret to the girls by their neighbour, Mrs. Otterbury. At the time they had all exclaimed over the Egyptian designs in one of the magazines, strange and fanciful creatures, like the Sphinx, and others, half animal and half human. A shard of guilt pierced Prudence as she recalled how she'd admired the Egyptian designs. Grace had used them to decorate the pasteboard reticule, these idolatrous and evil pictures. Her little sister had been beaten for making Prudence a gift for her birthday. It is not filthy idolatry. It is merely a whimsy of fashion. Grace is just a child. Those designs are simply attractive curiosities to her. They are blasphemous, and that thing she created bears the taint of the devil. It must be burned, and she must be cleansed. I'll thrash the evil out of her if it's the last thing I do." He knocked the magazines and reticule to the floor. Prudence darted in and snatched the battered reticule to her breast. "There is not a shred of evil in Grace. She is a dear sweet child, and she bears the stamp of Jezebel, as do you." Prudence dashed her fiery curls from her eyes. "It is not the stamp of Jezebel. It is simply hair, grandpapa. Grace and I cannot help its colour. Our mother had red hair." The old man let out a growl of rage and sliced at Prudence with his whip. "I forbade you to mention that harlot under my roof. She was a shameless Jezebel who enticed my son away from me, and you and that other she-cub bear her mark. I may not have beaten the evil out of you yet, but I'll make sure." Prudence interrupted. "If you so much as lay a finger on Grace or Hope or any of my sisters ever again, I'll kill you. Hope cannot help being left-handed, and Grace's and my hair is just an excuse. You are nothing but a despicable bully, and I'll have no more of it. Do you hear?" "Insolent baggage!" roared the old man. "I am your legal guardian, and I'll have respect and obedience from you, the way your sisters respect me. If I have to thrash you within an inch of your life, ha!" Prudence's voice was filled with scorn. "Respect does not come from beatings, grandpapa. It must be earned. You see my sister's meek obedience as respect."